guiding I eternally. Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Emerging from a cocoon into a caterpillar, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. The metamorphosis is here, it's live. Metamorphosis.
Metamorphosis, word, sound and power, music, drumming, current affairs, everything to grow and lift up your mind. Metamorphosis.
No more youths and youths for sale. We get wise and don't decide to change them style. Bobby wrong, keep your empty promises and your crooked smile. Metamorphosis, come with your thoughts, change your way of thinking. Metamorphosis, the change begins with you.
Men of Carthage, Blak men of Ethiopia, Timbuktu, Alexandria gave the light of civilization to this world. Ethiopia shall stretch forth our hands unto God, and princes shall come out of Egypt.
Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free. Guide I.
Good evening, Iman Blak.
Good evening.
This is Pauline from St. Mary. Calling to big you up on your program. I am a disciple. I've been there since almost the inception.
Guide I, it's the voice that sets me free.
I just you may have to tune into because, I always even watch some other television and stuff, and that's a festival for later. I have to really listen to you first, you know what I mean?
How ma one God one machikum bakhna Africa da fa bakhna kida panya kida farafet one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul one yande kesawai kida fa bunjul one machiki bunjul kida fa bunjul dafnen rafet yom entamenda ingama get dafnen rafet yom entamenda ingara dafnen rafet yom entamenda ingara did you know that's a richer Africa did you know that's a richer Africa, did you know? Said the whole world love it, did you know? Said the whole world love it. Be proud of your culture. Be proud of that what you got. Be proud.
Whoa, 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 Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Telling us to come home, yeah. Telling us to come home. Fire rage, burn down Babylon and all them crooked ways and racial discrimination, discommunication, brutalization. Whoa, 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 Rastafari, sit upon his throne now. Rastafari, sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari, sit upon his throne now, telling us to come home. Hotter fire blaze, fire blaze, fire blaze, fire burn down wicked Babylon. With all them guns and bombs trying to kill our nation. I know our freedom is in Zion, land of the Lion of Judah. Rastafari sit upon his throne now. Rastafari sit upon his throne, yeah. Rastafari sit upon his throne now, telling us to come home, come home, telling us to come home, yeah, telling us to come home, telling us to come home, telling us to come home, to the land where milk and honey flow, love and happiness, peacefulness, no more struggle, no more stress, no more fuming and the fighting, no more wars, no more cheating and backbiting, only love.
We not change, you know. Solid as a rock. Yes.
Today, tomorrow.
Metamorphosis.
Yesterday I said bongo man, congo man, dread I, Rastafari, roots. I talked about Garvey, Pan-Africanism, socialism, Nkrumah, Ghana, Nyerere, Tanzania, Castro, Cuba, liberation, struggle. Yesterday you said bongo man, congo man, primitiveness, dread, outrageous, ignorant, roots, foolishness, Garvey, no big thing. Pan-Africanism, socialism, irrelevant. Nkrumah, Ghana, Nyerere, Tanzania, Castro, Cuba, catastrophe. Liberation from what? Struggle, subversive. Today, I say what I said yesterday. Today, you say bongo man, congo man, dread, I, Rastafari, culture. Garvey the greatest, Pan-Africanism, socialism, relevant. Nkrumah, Ghana, Nyerere, Tanzania, Castro, Cuba, phenomenal. Liberation from neocolonialism and capitalism, struggle for oneness. Tomorrow, I'll be saying what I said today, what I said yesterday. Tomorrow, will you say what you said today or what you said?
Concerning non-violence, it is criminal to teach a man not to defend himself when he is the constant victim of brutal attacks.
You ready? You're not ready. I'm ready. Really ready. You really think say you're ready. Now we're gonna move on the system. Revolutionary like 3 finger jack. We have to take every penny. You ready? You're not ready. I'm ready. Really ready. You really think say you're ready. Now we're gonna move on the system.
Metamorphosis.
This ain't Tom and Jerry. You know by any means necessary. We are gonna move on them revolutionary. Cause these rhymes are so military like Howell and Garvey. visionary. All I'm ready. Listeners I walk on the beat so steady. Even Hulk have said I'm in credit, cause I bring last souls back from the deady. Yo, dread it, yo, me ready like Freddy. These rhymes so mercenary. Slide in, hit all dignitary who walk on the people like grapes and berries. Yo, to make juice, but them now no use. They move too dirty and loose, and there is no escape in the hangman's noose. Take off the med and put it on the wall like a moose. Cause them a youths, them a say Rasta, I know them roots. I drink them roots, I eat them fruits. I eat them ital food and I drink up them cane juice. Still I say Trinity and I say Deuce. Now go a ear just I get lock spruce. Now say Portia, now say Wholeness. And them dash for bruise. Cause if you want to lead the youths them, and if you want to teach the youths them, and if you want to reach the youths them, in them stiff you better be the new blend, the new trend. Like a long last new friend. Some are Benjamin and Reuben. Some you don't know from Adam's Eden. But in a time of problem, them are your godsend. Yo, you ready?
You're not ready.
Me ready.
Really ready.
You really think say you're ready.
You're not
Now
ready.
we're gonna move on the system. Revolutionary like 3 feet of jack. We have to take every penny. You ready?
You're not ready.
Me ready.
Really ready.
You really think say you're ready.
You're not
Now
ready.
we're gonna move on the system. Revolutionary.
Shall not enter. These are all alone. We walk on a true monster, sipping from the cup of peace. Chant down a Babylon, chant down Babylon, chant down a Babylon, chant down Babylon. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise. Give thanks and praise to the whole man of creation.
Tenastelin, ALI, greetings, Metamorphosis. Giving thanks for another occasion. And this occasion is a solemn occasion. It is the 31st of July. And in this day, almost 180 years ago, in 1838, the plantation underwent a process. 180 years ago, roughly, that as the Africans sat through this night, watching, waiting for the next morning. Because the next morning, a declaration would have been read. A declaration would have been read by the planter class and the colonial government. And the declaration would declare that the Africans who were enslaved for the last 300 and 400 years were now emancipated. And we had no idea what the word meant. But we were told that it's time to celebrate, because in the practical world, we were transitioning from chattel slavery to a new form of slavery called wage slavery. But chattel slavery was such a brutal experience that one had to celebrate the removal of chains from the arms and the legs and the neck. It would not have been possible to remove the chains in the spirit and in the psyche at the moment, 180 years ago. But the physical chains, the visible chains, were removed. And so 180 years later on, the population still must contemplate its position relative to the entire plantation. The move from chattel slavery to wage slavery has that upgraded the health conditions of the African population? Has that improved access to land? has that improved social conditions. So we have to reflect on these moments of celebration, particularly the ones that have a veil of deception attached to it. So the metamorphosis within this edition now realizes that come beyond 12 o'clock, all parishes in the island will be engaged in what they call a vigil. And when gospel songs will be sung as a sign of being released from chattel slavery. And a celebration is on right across the island. But as black people, we love to celebrate, but occasionally we have to investigate what is the nature of the celebration and who benefits and who does it really cost. So we go into that emancipation thing. We are 180 years on. And at the same time, we have to realize that 50 years after that emancipation, 50 years after, came Morant Bay. So something was seriously wrong in this society, that within 50 years, there had to be a revolution. And so I heal all the people of St. Thomas and the generations and ancestors who were inspirational in engaging in this challenge to the British society, the challenge to unemployment and in poverty created by the Westminster model of governance. And so St. Thomas people knows their own is powerful people. That's why all governments come and keep the parish in the backwoods and try to scare off people from St. Thomas by talking about obia and science. But what they really fear is a cultural power, the powers that transform Haiti into an independent state. The links between the Haitian Revolution and the Morant Bay Revolution. So the Haitian people are the brothers of the Jamaican people, and they're very close to the people of St. Thomas and Portland. And so as long as we don't discriminate against our black brothers from that part, 100 miles away, we become stronger in our identity. So St. Thomas have a whole heap to do with the resurrection of Jamaica, because there is much power, cultural power, in the hills and the valleys and in the minds of the people of St. Thomas. But they have been driven into the valley of doubt, where they doubt themselves, and there's a thought of taboo cast across the parish that is pure negative, evil African behavior is conducted there. So we have to remove that stigma and upgrade the identity of the people in St. Thomas. African people, liberators, fearless. Thousands and thousands of people in St. Thomas were massacred by the British because of the same illusion of being emancipated. So 50 years later, 1865, riot, revolution, resistance to oppression. And within another short span of time would come, 20 years later would come the Marcos, the birth of the Garvey. So there's some serious events unfolding in the Northeast, particularly after this emancipation process. And the process has to be questioned continuously, because what we understand within this time is that the British, the owners of the slaves, the enslavers, that at the process of emancipation, they were given compensation because it was claimed that they were damaged, that their economy was damaged, so they should be compensated. Well, I already had a little reason with my engineering about this concept now of forgiveness. Because here it is now, black people trying to demand compensation from the British. But at the same time, we were the first set of people to say that we forgive them. Now, is it possible to demand compensation when you already have forgiven somebody? So in other words now, The question is, you have your object, you have your car, or you have something, whatever you treasure, and somebody damage it. Now, if the person who damage it, you turn to them and tell them, say, I forgive you. On what basis now does that person owe you anything? That's a question I'm posing, and I posed it to my engineer Cassidy, and we were going around in a couple of circles trying to find a way to resolve it. And we're putting it out to the ones listening now. You have something that is valuable, and somebody damage it. If you tell that person that you forgive them, does that person owe you anything? Is there any need for that person to compensate you if you forgive them? Think about that seriously now, because black people have been programmed into forgiveness. Every time the white man does something before him even done do the act, we forgive him. Look what happened in North America. If a white you going to a church and murder 9 people by the gun, and before the gun cool off, the family said them forgive him. Yeah, them forgive him. So something wrong with it now, within this concept of forgiveness. Because if we keep forgiving all those who create these atrocities against us, they owe us nothing. Be careful now, So I put it out. And so that this is the final program in each month. The lines are open. You can eventually make an input. 4531444. We open the lines at around a little bit after 10 o'clock. So I'm going to raise these early issues about reparations now. Because the British were repaired. Their damages that they were accrued by losing African free labor, they were repaid. It is called compensation. It's called reparations. When you repair something, damage, it's called reparations. African people from the day of emancipation have been arguing and clamoring for compensation for the damage that has been created on the race of people for the last 500 years. Compensation, reparations. And the white man said him doing business. Because why? We have forgiven him. I will tell him that. And him holding on to that forgiveness and tell you, say now, even though we forgive him don't forgive we for stop working for him for free. And to him don't forgive we, he has to be paid. Millions of pounds the British farmers collected for releasing I from chattel slavery. And now you find that 180 years after emancipation, when the black people demanding reparations, the white man says it's not necessary because it's long gone. And we must move on because what? We are forgiven. We forgive the white people. And it's a program coming through religious education that we find it hard to forgive our brethren, each other. But we forgive the white man overnight for his evil. So the reparations have to recognize that the ideology of forgiveness, we have to re-examine it and begin to demand the reparations. The Jews, 200,000 of them died. And the Germans have to be repairing the damage with resources. But is it because the Jews are white and they are alive and the blacks are not? And, we have to check the racial perspective every time. So we're going to continue to examine this whole concept of reparations and the fact that if you forgive, can you ask for compensation if you forgive the person? That means that they don't owe you nothing. And yet we have been educated to believe that we must forgive, quickly forgive. And that has been part of our handicap. Because those who have committed the greatest atrocities amongst I, we have forgiven them. Not only have we forgiven them, we're saying we're leaving all our vengeance now to the Lord. So those people continue to walk around the planet and commit all type of murderous behavior. And we as a people forgive them. We have to think carefully now about the forgiveness program. And why is it we can't forgive our own family? We own black brothers and sisters. Why we can't forgive each other for the trespasses that we commit. And yet, when this white man come with his genocide behavior, before him committed, before him even done, we don't forgive him already. Something wrong with the program. And if we're going to examine emancipation and independence, we have to examine the program, Metamorphosis.
Marcus Garvey words come to pass. Marcus Garvey words come to pass. Can't get no food to eat. Can't get no money to spend. Oh, can't get no food to eat. Can't get no money to spend. Come, little one, oh, let me do what I can for you. And you, hello. Come, little one, come. Oh, let me do what I can for you and you alone. Oh, you know the right hand to ignite shall be spanked with many stripes, weeping and wailing and mourning. You got yourself to blame. I tell you, the right. I beg you.
So Metamorphosis is going on, and as we continue to reflect on what this process of emancipation has caused on the population, we're bearing in mind that it's 50 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that Marcus Garvey came to being. 50 years later. And Garvey saw it and realized that this thing here can't work. This slave plantation post-emancipation society just not working. It provides no benefits at all for the black people. So we already understand what Garvey had to do to bring a certain level of African consciousness to the population, because the population was totally decimated with its religious ideas and with its culture gone, with its names gone, with philosophy beaten out, reduced to shell. And we would have been remade over now under the concept of being Negroes and Christians. So Marcus Garvey come into the picture and recognize that there was no emancipation for the African population, but that they were put into a different form of slavery called wage slavery, wherein in that type of slavery, your rewards are always less than what you need. And so you always have to borrow and beg. But more to it than that, because Metamorphosis want to go beyond what Garvey projected. Because Garvey was the first black philosopher and thinker to begin to point man in the West to look towards Africa. And to look to Africa, particularly Ethiopia, as a point of redemption. Because there's nowhere in the West that black man could find refuge. So in looking into Africa, man from Yard in particular, Yard man, really began to zero in on Ethiopia. And through the same religious texts, the Bible, we're able to glean certain information about the history and the culture of Ethiopia. The same Bible also made mention of another African state called Egypt. So we have these two names that resonate in history and time And we get these out of the King James Version of the Bible. Ethiopia and Egypt. And so it's kind of crucial now for those who are biblically minded to use these two states of civilization to help to redefine who I and I is in this time. Because it is our history and our culture that rests at the foundation of our identity. The history that we have been given, of course, is through the education system and through the religious system. And those systems in combination tells us about ancient civilizations. And they usually speak about ancient Europe and ancient Africa. But I want them to remember now about Asia. And that Asia as a continent is bigger than Africa. And the fact that the earth and its population and the whole construction of the earth, if we look into the geography of how the earth construct. Because on the surface of the earth, we have a great volume of water. And two of these bodies that have the greatest volume of water are two of the biggest oceans we have. One is the Atlantic Ocean. One is the Pacific Ocean. Now, because we are on this side of the hemisphere, meaning on this side of the Western world, much of our education and our knowledge is all about and surrounds much of what happens in and around the Atlantic Ocean areas and the lands that are near and around the Atlantic Ocean. We hardly ever thought about what are the lands and the people who surround or that are along the coastline of the Pacific Ocean. So part of coming to our identity is getting a bigger grasp of what the world is all about. Not just what they tell us, but what is it really in its practical existence. So we have within the metamorphosis now, we're going to make a distinction now between civilizations that are around the Atlantic Ocean and civilizations that are around the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, the planet is a kind of large planet, you know, kind of big. And in order to understand ourselves, we have to get a grip of what the whole thing is about. It can't be just a narrow view. We have to broaden our perspective. So, the reasoning is going in this direction because much of the history we get of ourselves as a people, particularly in this Western world, is hinged upon European view of the life and their perspective. And the people in the Caribbean, for example, we have been told to mark history by certain events, the way the British teach us. So just like emancipation is an event, we use that to record the time 1834 to 1838. So we call that the emancipation process. Now, there are also characters now in history that help us to define time. And within our Caribbean space now, one of the important characters is Columbus. And Columbus gives us a location in time in the 1490s. So we can call it just around 1500. So in our memory now, historical memory, we have Columbus, 1494 to 1498. And then 400 years later, we have emancipation, 1834 to 1838. And for most of those who have been educated in this side of the world, that is how history begins. History begins with the arrival of Columbus in this region. And so the African people and the African children are given a view of the world that begins with Columbus. And this is a very serious tragedy in getting a grip of the entire planet. Because Columbus was a lost soul. And Columbus arrived where he arrived through error. And much of our education now is grounded from Columbus onwards. So what happened in the region before Columbus came is almost like a mystery. And the people that lived in this region before Columbus came is also another mystery. But I want to make an attempt now to examine that mystery. And who are these people? And what is the culture that was in this region before the coming of Columbus? No, because them tell us now that Africans were brought here by the Europeans. We see our presence coming here now because of the slave trade. So the education system gives you Columbus as a starting point in history, and it gives you the transatlantic slave trade of African people as the beginning of Africans in this Western world. So that's how we start to say. That's why when they talk about black people in the Western world, people always start with slavery. Because that's how them program us to view ourselves through that lens. But I want to get a little bit bolder now in our own thinking and begin to move away that veil that exists between when Columbus come here and the years before Columbus even reached. And there's a very important researcher. This is a Caribbean researcher who has provided a great amount of research and information that has helped I and I to see behind Columbus and to see the presence and the cultures that were here long before Columbus landed here. I speak of Dr. Ivan van Sertima. Ivan van Sertima. All I do who have access to the computer tools, just check out Van Sertima. Van Sertima is a Guyanese linguist, anthropologist, scientist. And he has committed his life to doing the research as to what was the nature of the culture of the people in this region long before Columbus came. And he produced a very outstanding text called They Came Before Columbus. They Came Before Columbus. And when you begin to examine the work of Van Sertima, it is earth-shaking. And this is one of the reasons why you don't see Van Sertima's works even in the Caribbean. Because it would help to transform the mentality of the people of this region, particularly those who are claiming African descendancy. So Van Sertima, very, very important historian, anthropologist, linguist, who through his research now, he has opened the door for I and I now to look beyond this Columbus adventure and see who were the real cultures and the people in this region. What was the nature of the culture of the people here long before Columbus reached? So we're going to look along that strand, using Van Sertima as a way to view this region. And I'll just get in a nutshell. Van Sertima and his research proved the African presence in this region 20,000 years before Columbus. 20,000 years before Columbus reached here in 1490s, that Africans were present in this region. Now, that's a very significant and important line of trajectory. Because we have to ask, I have to ask myself now, so who were these Africans? Who were these Africans who populated these regions? 18,000 BC. 18,000 years before the birth of Christianity. 18,000 years in this region of the world. Who were the residents? Who was the culture? What was the culture? What was the religion? What was the philosophy of these people? And in truth, the answer rests in what Europeans call fiction. And they don't describe what happens and who lives here within history. They give you the impression that it's a fiction. Well, the metamorphosis now within this edition, we're going to delve into the culture and the people who occupy this region 20,000 years before Columbus come here. And we can get into that side by examining the history of the region, even through the lens of the Cubans. Because Cuba is the biggest island within this region. And this region is not being viewed now as a Caribbean region. This region now is the Antilles. And Cuba is the greater Antilles. And so if we begin to change the language and begin to analyze the region in a different way, we might get a different insight into ourselves. So this region here, this region that is being called the Caribbean, has a deeper history when you check it by its original sound, the Antilles. Who were the original Antillean people? What is the relationship between the Antillean people and the Mayas? What's the relationship with the people of the Antilles and the Olmecs? These are black cultures. These are cultures that had their own pyramids and their own sophistication. So we have to check to see now, how do we make that link between the Africans and their cultures 20,000 years before Columbus come here. 18,000 years before the birth of the Jesus. And in this region, this Atlantic region, we have evidence of African presence. And not only African meaning from the continent, no. We're talking about the presence of black people, black culture, melanin-based people. The Mayans were black culture. What they call the Indians of Central America is black culture. So we have to stop and check now. Where and how do these people connect themselves now to the continent? What is the relationship between this region, the Atlantic region, and the African continent? Metamorphosis. We're examining the agency of this region. And we're going to dismiss the word Caribbean. And we're going to examine the history of the Antilles. And perhaps we get into the history of Atlantis.
Rastafari, rules and reigns, yo. Exhibir, let Jah be praised. Negus and Negas, let Jah be praised. Nathaniel, let Jah be praised. You better let him be praised. Let him be praised. You better let him be praised. Oh, Jah watered the hills from his chambers, and the earth is satisfied, so satisfied. He maketh the grass to grow for animals. He made the herb for men. He made the herbs for men. He made the herbs for men. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity, 'cause they shall soon be cut down like grass, and they shall wither like herbs. Now let Jah arise and all his enemies scattered. Let them that hate him now shatter, flatter, scatter, and batter. As the smoke that is driven, let Jah drive them away, like wax melted against fire. so shall the heathen melt. Or lightning.
Metamorphosis. Want to hide them, draw for your map, you know. Yeah, man, draw for your map and look at the world or them give it to us. And look at how this region here now, we're talking about the region that they call the Caribbean. And if you look deeper into your map, you see the word Antilles. So the Antilles is really the ancient name for this region. And civilizations around here would be called Antillean. And the word is as a close derivation from the word Atlantis. Now within literature and within history and archaeology and all those various sciences, much has been written about a continent that was called Atlantis. But not much research has been done, as far as I know, by black people or Africans into this concept and history called Atlantis. It's mostly Europeans. For the last couple of hundred of years, have been researching and writing their findings on Atlantis. And I find that to the black people, population generally, we view it like comic. We think Atlantis is a comic book talk. And we don't put any historical reality to it, nor any geographical space. But we have Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden as a reality. And the Europeans who understand and who wrote that know that that is a fiction. And they have spent tremendous amount of their energies and resources investigating and researching Atlantis. It's only the black people not doing it because we have been disconnected from Atlantis in the way they have taught us. And we have to revisit the culture and the location of this continent. Does this continent predate Africa? Does this continent function as a contemporary to the African continent? Who were the people who occupied this continent of Atlantis? And how did the continent find its end? How did it happen? What happened? Why the continent is no longer here? So it's something that I want to invite black people, our young black scholars and writers, to begin to investigate this concept of a lost continent, which, according to the Cubans, they have found it. There's a very interesting thing going on, and Cuba is right here in the Antilles. And what is so important about this continent now and Cuba is that people in Jamaica Island, for example, we here feel that we are the super force culturally in this Caribbean. And we are always bragging and boasting of our contribution to the world and our prominence and the size and little and tall, and we have our own thing built up around ourselves. But Cuba is a very mighty and big, large place. And it has a extended historical experience that Jamaica can't match. And it is the Cubans now who have used their own resources to begin to do their own research. And they are now coming up with findings that the Europeans discovered years ago, but kept it a secret. So first of all, the Atlantic Ocean is a very powerful and peculiar place. And you normally name the land from the ocean. Or you call the ocean the name of the land. And the word Atlantic and Atlantis are familiar. The Cubans now brought themselves into the picture because it's going to go to a political situation in the early 1960s. And in the early 1960s, there was a struggle between the United States and the Soviet Union over who should control Cuba. And in that 1961 struggle, they had an incident called the Cuban Missile Crisis. This is two superpowers now fighting a proxy war, battling over an important landmass, Cuba. Jamaica would experience the same thing in 1980, when we would be at the center of a proxy war between these two superpowers as well. But the one in 1961, 62, it uncovered some things that the major population was not allowed to get access to information. In other words, now, the United States and the Soviet Union square off and threaten each other threaten to fire missiles at each other. But something was happening under the water. Because both of these countries had submarines. And when these submarines came into the Cuban waters and the region, the Atlantic Ocean waters, they discovered something that shocked them. And they couldn't tell the world at the time because it would leave too many questions without any answers. What did they find with their submarines? They found buildings underwater. They found road networks. They found pyramids. And they found sphinxes. Yeah, and I'm saying this to the listeners now. These things they found at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. And they are still there today. And what was also intriguing is that the Americans and the Russians just create a code of silence and cover it up. Shut down the investigation and decided not to expose what they had discovered. Because what they had discovered now would disrupt their concept of what world history was all about. So at the base of the Atlantic Ocean are pyramids that are larger than the pyramids in Egypt. Yeah, right here as I speak to you. And the Cubans have been doing the research, sending down their little submarines and coming up on these images and coming up on these structures and these buildings, giant pyramids. And I'm saying to the island who are listening now, how we get the history is that pyramids are constructed on land, and they are remnants of the Egyptian society and so on. So the question obviously is this: how and who built these giant pyramids that are now sitting on the basin of the Atlantic Ocean? And was it not obvious, isn't it obvious that there was a time when those pyramids were on the surface? So we have to visit now and revisit the archaeological findings. We have to visit the perspectives of history. And we have to begin to recheck now this Atlantic region. Yeah, this region that they tell us was just discovered by Columbus in 1500. Yet Van Sertima tells us about 20,000 years of the African presence. What's the link between the African presence and the pyramids in this region? Atlantis in search.
Jano, the flu ya mash me down, you know.
So wait, you don't know about Taj Pharmacy?
Taj Pharmacy, the friendly global pharmacy. We stock a wide array of items from makeup, medical, sundries to toiletries. We offer delivery service, conditions apply. Open every day, including public holidays. Monday to Saturdays, 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Sundays and public holidays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's Taj Pharmacy, located at 23 West Street, Port Antonio, Portland.
So what you say? Them do delivery too?
Of course them do delivery, but conditions apply.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube, Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook, Styles FM 96.1.
Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, conveniently located at 15 Boundbrook Crescent, Port Antonio. For a large space of single and double rooms at reasonable rate, Wi-Fi, cable TV, breakfast order, 24-hour security, CC cameras, parking, snack bar and lounge. Beautiful scenery of the Caribbean Sea. We're willing to assist with additional accommodation, such as fridge in your room, coffee machine, and so much more. Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, proud sponsor of the Metamorphosis with Dr. Iman Blak, live on Styles FM, Mondays, 9 p.m. to midnight. Call Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House at 715-1644.
Identity is a critical element in a people's liberation. Identity. What are we? Who are we? What am I? Who am I? And that what am I? Who am I question usually is resolved by exploration. Exploring time and space of a particular heritage and culture that are associated with a certain type of people. All people have them culture. Peoples have them heritage. So it's important that to construct your identity, you seek out and come to grips with what is your heritage. Heritage, of course, is connected to your whole makeup and what you pass on to your generations, not just through behavior, but through the power of the genes. So the identity crisis now continues in this region amongst the people who were brought into enslavement. Every couple months and every couple years we change how we identify ourselves, we call ourselves something different because of that uncertainty that the Chinaman holds, that he's always a Chinaman, no matter what condition reach him. The Indian is always an Indian, no matter what psychological, emotional condition reach him, he's still an Indian. The black man, the African, the Negro, the colored, all these various now classifications, that is a slew of confusion. And every time there's an attempt to hold a fundamental concept of identity, Within another couple of months, it shift again by some other set of powers. So in the same way, the people were taken out of the continent as Africans. And they were brought here, and over time, they were no longer Africans, but became Negroes. And not only Negroes they become Negro Christians. And then they became colored people. And then they became brown and off-white. And all of these variations of definitions, but they're all alien to the foundation that connects the people to the land that them come from. So what is the name of the land where the enslaved come from? We have been told, of course, that the land is called Africa. That's what we were told by the enslavers. And they'd hardly tell us the truth about anything. So there's nothing wrong with questioning even that identity title that has been put upon I. So in order to question and examine what it really means now, if we look at word sound and the powers that are conveyed by various words, we know that language carries meaning. And much of the languages of the natural talk of the people of that continent, it has been sort of watered down, that we tend to speak European languages. They call them Romance languages. So much of us talk French, and some talk Spanish, and some talk Portuguese, and some talk German, and them have a talking all of them tongue. So when we try to say who we are now, we don't even have the language for talk who we are, or for talk through one of them language. So let us revisit the picture this way now. Here we are on our continent. We don't have the name. We're just on the continent and we live in. One of the ways you can name somebody or something is by describing. Descriptive. Use the adjective form to describe the person. So in Jamaica now, we're very good at describing. Hey, it's a tall man there. Yo, it's a the red dress girl there. It's a man with the big boots. We very good at describing people. But that description doesn't really necessarily give you the foundation as to who the identity of the person is. It's just a label to get the person's attention. So here we are on the continent. What is the name of the continent? The Europeans come first. Who are the first set of Europeans to come in and get any ascendancy? It's the Greeks. So when they begin to develop language now and sight of who we are as a people, they described us, and the word they used was Ethiopic, Ethiopia, Ethiopian. And what they were trying to describe was the looks of the people, the visible looks. And the visible looks showed them that the people were black, sunburnt. Their bodies were sunburnt. And we're calling that black. So the word for the Greeks for black was Egypt, was Ethiopia, Ethiopian. Then there's also the Romans who came with them concept of black and say we were Africans. So we have the Ethiopia, we have Egypt, we have Africa. And we have these terms that were generally created by Europeans to describe the people of burnt faces and burnt bodies. The people call themselves at one level Kemetic people. Kemet, KMT. Chem, CHEM, the foundation of chemistry, which means black. So long before any contact with Arabs and Europeans, when it comes to identifying the nations of the people on that continent, it's generally considered to be black people. The people who rest in the area that was called Egypt, the soil of the River Nile was black. So there was no negativity or no demonic construct attached to black. Black was just a definition of a people who were grounded in a melanin construct. It is the melanin base of the people that made you describe them as black. It's not the fact that they were in the sun. Because the sun by itself don't make you black, you know. It is a function of the pineal gland that generates those hormones that gives us that blackness. So if we begin to redefine ourselves properly and realize that Europeans have given us a lot of things, forced upon us a lot of things, inclusive of names. So we are here in this time trying to reclaim our identity. And we seem to be rallying around the concept now of everybody being African. And we seem to be, the academic world seems to be settling on that. And people of spiritual gleaning and all these various terms, them keep saying, well, all right, we are black, we are African people. But you see, that has a problem unto itself. Because African doesn't necessarily relate and speak specifically now to race. African really relating now to a national identity. Because when a Chinaman goes into Africa and him copulate with a female woman, the child is born in Africa. So is that an African? Or is that a Chinese? Or is that a Chinese African? Or is that an African Chinese? So we begin to realize that when the white man went into South Africa and began to breed up, himself called himself African, using the definition of African as related to national identity. But he had never ever called himself black. Yet the people who are black are running away from that identity to call themselves everything else that the white man can share. So I said this to say, when we're talking about African, we have to make space for the reality that there are millions of black people on this planet who are not necessarily from that continent itself. Because let us reflect on the Pacific side of the world. And within the Pacific region, there are thousands of black nations. What about the people from Melanesia? These are people who can give you their history 50 to 100,000 years. Do we have to call these people Africans, or do we recognize that they are black people? So it is a blackness that is a commonality, not necessarily being African. And within that concept now of blackness, black culture now is what we must embrace. And black culture has been here in this particular region, as Van Sertima pointed out, 20,000 years before the Europeans come here. So who is this black culture? Who are these people? Who are these black cultural people who were able to build pyramids in the Atlantic? And what do we know about the Bermuda Triangle in the Atlantic? A region that demonstrates that there is a tremendous amount of power coming from the ocean. Are these remnants of an empire, a black empire, that Europeans are writing off as fiction, yet they spend tremendous amount of resources investigating Atlantis? Our black scholars, our black writers and thinkers, we too must begin to investigate Atlantis. Who were these black people? What was the religion of the Atlanteans? How did Atlantis perish? And Atlantis is not a strange sound, you know. Because the first time the Europeans heard of Atlantis was through one of their scholars called Plato. And Plato had to go into Egypt to be told about Atlantis. So we need to wake up and recognize the black culture that is perhaps more extensive than what we want to think, and how we want to connect Africa as the beginning of our civilization. Where did Africans get their knowledge? Who provided the genius for the ancient Ethiopian empire? Yeah, we are much further and much deeper than Africa. Remember, the lines will be open tonight. We'll open the lines in around 10:30. 453-1444. It's a time to reflect and express what have been some of your thoughts. Let us hear what you are thinking as we move to the process of transitioning from slaves to masters of our own thought, where we move from believing to knowing. And we move from superstition to science. 453-1444. Or you can WhatsApp me, or you can send me a text. It is time for I to hear. It's time for listeners to hear what some of our thinkers have been thinking. Metamorphosis. Who taught the Ethiopians the science of architecture? How to build out of rocks? Where did that technology come from? What was the civilization that preceded the most ancient of Ethiopians? What about the people who live in the Pacific region? And what about the continent of Asia? We have to start look upon the thing more globally to find ourselves, because the whole globe have a conspiracy against black people. Because there's a global racial hierarchy, and it's black people at the bottom. Not Africans necessarily, but black people. So we have to find a way to separate ourselves from that discrimination now of putting people into these, black people into these various groups that begin to set themselves against each other. So the clamor for being an African is a positive one, because it begins to take you to the direction of the homeland, the continent. But blackness precedes even that, because one can be black anywhere. And so this region now called the CARRIBEYOND, this Atlantic region, it has a history. And the history goes back thousands of years into the historical civilization of supermen. And this Superman society was called Atlantis. And where was Atlantis? As I said earlier, Atlantis was brought to the European consciousness through Plato. And Plato had to go into Egypt to sit at the feet of the scholars of Africa. And it is these scholars who let him know, particularly the Athenians, because I see the Greeks were on the rise. And Athens was a very important city. And they had a lawgiver called Solon. And it is this Solon now that communicated with Plato to start telling about things that happened 10,000 years even prior to that, and where these events took place. Now, Once you come into this Western Hemisphere and as a remnant of our enslaved people, you will not know these things. You will not know these things. You will know what they tell you. But this region called the Atlantic region. Remember now, you know, the Atlantic Ocean has pyramids at the base, sitting on the ground, sitting at the foot of the Atlantic Ocean. It simply means that there was a time when these constructions were above water. Who are the builders? Who are the scientists who build these pyramids in the Atlantic region that are bigger than the pyramids on the African continent? And what about the age? These pyramids have hieroglyphics on it. Language. So it's black people, you know. It's black people we're talking about now, super societies that experience a serious amount of devastation that was described now by Plato in his writings of how Atlantis had a destructive end, one day and one night. What was the cause of that? Many speak about asteroids hitting the earth. Many talk about comets. The earth have a history that enough of we don't even dare contemplate. And those who have the knowledge will not show to us, because it will awaken memories and really shake us out of the slave feelings that we've been under for the last couple of years. So we might think that 500 years is a long time, or even that 100 years is a long time. But in the reality, if you follow the world of sports, 100 years is just 25 Olympics. That is all. 25 Olympics and you cover 100 years already. So these things will move quickly. And we have to begin to recognize that time is ancient on the earth. We cannot be trapped by Bible telling you about the earth 6,000 years old. That is real enslavement. Van Sertima. Again, I want them go and read up on Ivan Van Sertima's research and his findings about the African presence in this Caribbean region, in this Atlantic region. What is the connection between the pyramids in this region and the triangle that they call the Bermuda Triangle, where planes disappear, where ships disappear? Disappear where? Where? So there are forces within this region that have been established by black culture. And you explore black culture by looking into the Central American blackness, the Mayas and the Toltecs. And you look into Honduras and the pyramids that they are uncovering inside Honduras. So the Caribbean as a region is not a Caribbean. It's more like a Mayan region. Because the region has nothing to do with the Caribs. Caribs, we're told, we're a little tribe. So these islands that we are living on now, we're actually in the Atlantic Ocean. There is no literal Caribbean Sea. That's a misnomer. We are living in the Atlantic Ocean. And so Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti are critical points now within the Atlantic continental framework. And check it out historically. Cuba, Haiti, Jamaica. Different meditation, different mentality that has a foundation maybe beyond Africa. Because obviously there were people here long before the African slave trade came into this region. Whole heap of people too. And some of those people are still here. So there's a collection of black people and black culture in this region that we have to search out and make a connection and liberate yourself, because again, not everybody who come here who is black is a part of a slave movement. The group of liberated black people have been in this region and have been here long before Columbus come. So we must find ourselves within that mix. There's a feed forward on the WhatsApp. Right, it's saying that we have been in the Americas before slavery. And that's what we're trying to insist that people begin to know that. The person also said that he has been reading, well not he, the person has been reading a book called The Destruction of the Black Civilization by Chancellor Williams. And the person suggesting that Africans should read this book, because it brings out certain philosophies that I and I have been trying to pass on and share. Anthem Greatness, I guess that's the name of the person. Yes, it is all about knowing that I and I have been here long before Columbus and the Europeans came here. Long before, thousands of years, with civilization and culture. So we can't overlook that now and claim that we just come as black people because them bring in some slave ship and them send across the Jesus of Rubeck and put black people in it and bring it here, and this is the beginning of black people in this hemisphere. That's a deception. That's a deception. And we deceive ourselves by thinking that there's a difference now between black people and Africans. The black people are the foundation. We have black people in the Pacific Islands. We have black people in Melanesia. And these are the melanin people from a place called Melanesia. The man, check it out, you know. How did that place get that name? How did the people of Melanesia, how did melanin people become called Melanesians? We have to look into them kind of things they know, you know, and how ancient these people are. These people have a history that goes 200,000 years behind. Yeah, the Melanesians. And it's black culture. So we can try to tie up everything on the African continent because there's Asia. And Asia have black people. Yeah, it's a blackness we're dealing about now, you know, it's not a national identity. It's a blackness. And it goes beyond your national identity. So the Europeans will always be the dominant force when they have us dividing ourselves by claiming that some black and some not black and some brown, and they use African and you not African. We are black people. And what makes us black is the fact that we have melanin in our not just melanin, you know. We have a extra special nervous system in our skin. That's what the melanin protects. An extra sensory perceptual system that gives us this link with the environment and the divinities and all of that ancestral forces. That's what makes I and I common, not because we're not common because we're Africans. We are common because we are black. And that is the foundation. And we realize what blackness is not a color. It's a state of energy. It's a protection. It's a protective shield. So, in this region here called the Caribbean, black people didn't come here just through enforcement. Black people have been residents and builders of this hemisphere long before the Europeans came out of the caves. That is why this region have pyramids in Central America. That's why there are pyramids in Honduras. That's why there are pyramids in the what they call the Caribbean, because the Atlantic region, where the continent of Atlantis resided, have remnants still. So, we could check ourselves different. We are not Caribbean people. There is no such thing called a Caribbean. There is no such thing called a West Indian, except it's an Indian who comes to live in the West. We are Atlantean people. Once you begin to see your foundation in the region of the Atlantic Ocean. You're an Atlantean person. And I have been here for thousands of years. Everybody never just come from Africa or the continent and come here. So we have a claim. We have a claim the identity of the Atlantean people. And we begin to recognize Atlantis and do the research and find the powerful energies that the Atlanteans had uncovered. How did these people know how to travel through space? In the same way, black people and the African continent could talk about linkage with Venus and Sirius and various planets. It's a black cultural thing. And when we begin to embrace blackness and stop being afraid of saying black, because you might offend those who are not black. If they're not black, it's because of nature. It's nature make people non-black, you know. And it's nature make people black. So we're not going to get up and curse nature, because that's what everything is about, the powers of nature. So the black culture of the black people is what I and I need to rally around in this time. Claiming being emancipated and independent and being African is not sufficient. We need to reclaim our blackness. And our black culture now takes us into all parts of the planet where the culture is dominant. And in that dominant culture, the female has a crucial role in relationships, foundation to those societies. So we could re-examine ourselves as we claim that we are moving into this emancipation celebration. We could re-examine who are the people that were emancipated. Was it not the British? And who were the people who were deceived? And what is the solution to the identity crisis facing deceptive population? Trying to be Christians, trying to be Negroes, trying to be African, trying to be everything except black with a capital B. Metamorphosis.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
Remember Styles FM on social media. View us on YouTube at Styles FM Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Styles FM. Like us on Twitter at Styles FM 961. Become a fan on Facebook. Styles FM 96.1.
Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, conveniently located at 15 Boundbrook Crescent, Port Antonio. For a large space of single and double rooms at reasonable rate, Wi-Fi, cable TV, breakfast to order, 24-hour security, CC cameras, parking, snack bar and lounge. Beautiful scenery of the Caribbean Sea. We're willing to assist with additional accommodation, such as fridge in your room, coffee machine, and so much more. Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, proud sponsor of the Metamorphosis with Dr. Iman Blak, live on Styles FM, Mondays, 9 p.m. to midnight. Call Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House at 715-1644.
Yes, the WhatsApp's coming in on, what I want to name from St. Thomas? Picture frame. You phone of the youth. All right. That way just go and think that me and the youth you're talking about, see? Pauline, you're tuned in. Give thanks. You come out of the cold box. Welcome to Jamrock again. All right, give thanks. Ivar, send no iMessage. Yeah, man, I'm wondering how people can live in one place for 10,000 years and they must disappear so. Eh? None can go so, man. Something must left. Well, you see what them leave? Underwater right now. They have left us pyramids. Yeah, in this region. What a finding. The Cubans are the ones who pursue it, It's them, go down there with them submersible thing and start book up these big stone images and frighten up the Americans, them, so the Americans are trying to keep it secret from the 60s. And the Cuban emboss it, Yeah, it's a Cuban emboss it. And these Americans and Russians knew about this thing from the 60s. So you see how long them keep in the country and the population in deception. But you see, it come out. It come out. This region is a mighty, powerful region. The Atlantic region. The remnants of Atlantis. The continent of super people. Yeah, you see why we be here, so? All right.
The Rasta man be born from Zion. Like a dream, come full one. The Rasta man born from Zion. What a dream, black, dreadlock one. The Rasta man born from Zion. Lightning. 7 years of famine for 7 years of plenty. Shall be on the hills.
Again, 453-1444. Call came in and just disappear. But you can try again. 453-1444. Metamorphosis. Dr. Iman Blak here.
Elijah prayed that it did not rain.
Love Doctor, oneness.
Isis.
Rastafari, Jamak from Berrydale,
Ah, Berrydale. Heal up.
Yeah, man. For one of your topics, for the forgiveness thing,
Yes.
Because right now, if black people can't forgive themselves, know them going to go through on earth. You see what I deal with?
That's true. That is true.
Because if we are going to look to a white man for forgiveness after them done slave we out and done do what them to do with report parents long time.
We not get nothing.
And many life out there.
Yeah.
And we are going to look for them for forgiveness. That not going to work.
It not going to work. Serious thing.
No. You see what I say?
Yes, sir.
Because if you look into yourself, Marcus Garvey, ask the man them say right now, if the great man of Mussolini and the man are no man, so who is we if we are no man, so why him asking that question?
Mm-hmm.
Because him don't see say right now most man are half a man and some man a piece of man, because if black people now look on themselves as black.
Yes.
You see what I deal with?
Complete.
I travel in a coronation market to do my clustering.
Yeah.
And when I go in there, I see some black empress, and when I look on them, you see definitely see them hand back black, them foot back black, and the rest of them blue and white.
Wow.
I see that in a Rasta. You see what I say?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So if black people now go look on themselves right now and see themselves, and see where we're coming from, and see the slave master them slave we out, and we still look for them for forgiveness. It's just like one side of them I look for a way to compete them like the multitude of people. And with
well, I tell you, Virgin, you're saying it quite well. The I saying it, Jamax.
You see what I say?
Yes, sir.
Right now, every night I take in your program still, and I got some faithful listeners, where dedicate themselves to the program, because I teach the people in my community, and plenty of time where they say even with the forgiveness and them Jesus,
Yes.
I look on them and I tell them, say, if I can't look on myself as a black king.
Yes.
You see what I say?
Yes.
I can't look on no one else. Because I not look to no European country. I faith and I look to where the black people originate from.
Serious, my brother.
As you say, in Africa, the first place, and I only place black people originate from, but people don't take themselves as African, and we can't do that.
Yes, sir. But
if you look on there and you look on there, blackness, so what we going to say? We can't run from that.
Truly. But you see, sometimes, I think we get a program that black is not complete. It's like something missing.
That is it.
Yes.
That is it, because when we are little youth and I grow up, the first thing our fourth parents are look on me and I tell us right now, you see your black like junk, you see your black
yes,
like it, and,
man.
And it can, when they teach, them teach all things white and beautiful.
Of course.
You see why I deal with, and when we look for all things white and beautiful, all things black must be powerful.
I tell you, Virgin,
you see why I say?
Some serious psychology,
I just want to still teacher because I just take in the program and I go and hold a spiff and I go and burn the
All right. All the vibration. Where's the Berrydale?
Yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to all the live listeners like the one near Rata and Kaba, you know.
All right.
And all I little youth them about here, me just want them to listen to your program and just wise up because I teach them every day, but them just say I am a madman. So
well, that's how you go.
You know, that's why I say.
But hear me now. Is there a man mad? That don't mean say him insane, you know.
That is it.
All right.
That is it.
All right.
Because I tell them, say, I know every man when they say retarded like handicapped. Some of them retarded from them brain said way.
All right.
That's why I say, I just want us to know more teaching to the people, you know, and to the world, you know, Dr. Iman.
All right, my brethren. Give thanks.
Rastafari.
Yes, Metamorphosis, we're here again. Come in. Greetings.
Crucial. I'm out on the rock now, with no clothes on my back, yo. No shoes on my feet now. I've got nothing to eat, yo. Not even liquor flour.
Greetings.
Hello, greetings. Good night.
Yes.
First time to your program.
Could you please turn on your radio, please? Thank you.
All right now?
Go through my daughter.
All right. They're saying repatriation for black people, and almost some people want to go back to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying now is that I am a mixed person. I mix with Indian, and you have a man who is mixed with Chinese,
yes.
And we are all Jamaican because they say out of many one people.
Okay.
So only thing they're talking about the forgiveness part. I don't really thinking about that. I just want to move on. Where I'm from.
And where is? How do you know where you're from if you're a mix? How would you know where you're from if you say that you're a mixed?
That's it.
So
you see, and they say black people for Africa.
Yes.
And I am not a black person. I'm a black woman, yeah.
Oh, so how you're not a black person and you're still a black woman? I don't get that.
Excuse me, let me straighten it up.
Thank you.
I am a black woman with a Indian descent.
Okay. All right.
Right.
Okay.
So what I'm saying now is that if we were all to go back where we came from, plenty of us wouldn't have nowhere to go.
Wait, explain what you mean by that.
Because if African is for Africa, if Africa is for Africans,
yes.
And Jamaica is for Jamaicans. I was born in Jamaica.
Okay.
And we want forgiveness. We want to forgive the people that hurt us and do us wrong and enslave us. But where were we really from?
All right. Okay. There's nothing wrong with your question because we have to question ourselves, right? And a good part because the questions are important. But listen to me now. If you are what you say a mixed person and you have Indian as part of your heritage, right?
Yeah.
There is something about you within that mix that is dominant. There's some aspect of your makeup that is more dominant than the other. And basically, amongst the black people, it is the blackness that is a dominant force. Everything else can be mixed with the black.
Okay.
But there's a dominant force. So you have to recognize the mixture take place, but then there's something that you're going to hold on to as your identity, which is what is dominant.
Okay.
So that's why you still have black people who have Indian, who have Chinese into them. So once they're going to talk about repatriation, it will be to the home of black people. And we have been trained on the thing that Africa is a home. So it's just a matter of coming to know thyself. You know?
Okay.
And some people are confused because of the mixture.
Yes.
You know? But if we sort ourselves out historically, the mixture is like a little blip. It's just like a little drop of milk in a whole cup of coffee.
Okay.
So I'm saying that we have to be comfortable with how we identify ourselves within the concept of being black.
Okay.
You know, and a lot of us are afraid of it because people might think that no, you're racist because you say you're black. You know, so a lot of things we have to overcome to really be comfortable with acknowledging who we are. We are very uncomfortable. But we are glad that the eye is doing the searching because see, without the questioning, you won't get any answers.
Yes, and when you look at it, you see, this system is designed to keep black people down.
Exactly.
If you look at the diseases that come in,
Yes.
and you look at the blood mixture,
Yes.
even some people with even some kind of blood sickness, where you know is like one person go to a next person and get that sickness.
Right.
Like, you know, let me get it more clear. Like the person with a sickle cell then.
Right.
That is not from a black nation really, you know. It's like from a white race, you know, from the white man ancestor come down, you know,
Okay.
mixed with a black person, you know.
Yes, yes.
That's what I feel to myself.
Well, put it this way, there are some illnesses that are kind of specific to certain racial groups.
I think.
You know? And we just have to continue to examine ourselves and to unlearn some of the things that they tell us that just don't make any sense anymore.
Yeah.
You know? So I like your journey.
Yeah.
As long as you're on the journey, I think you're going to find yourself. And when you find yourself, you're going to celebrate.
All right, thanks.
Give thanks, yeah?
Bye now.
Irie. The number is 453-1444. The same number applies to the WhatsApp. And of course, it's your time to let us know what are your thoughts. The thoughts are the power within the eye.
With no clothes on my back, yo. No shoes on my feet now. I've got nothing to eat, yo. Not even little flour. A crucial. To mix little dumpling. Crucial. Said no rice.
Metamorphosis, you're on live. Greetings.
Yes.
Do you have a radio on? Do you have a radio on? Could you call back, please? We're having a very bad connection. Yeah? This is 954. So there's also the number for the people who live far out. 954-338-7973. 954-338-7973. If you're living into a place outside of Jamaica and you want to have your input, that's the number to call. Otherwise, the local number, 453-1444. Same thing applies to the WhatsApp. Metamorphosis, it is your time to speak tonight.
Crucial.
Metamorphosis, live. Greetings.
Greetings.
Yes, you're on.
How are you?
I am here, and you are there. How are we?
Okay.
All right. So what are you saying?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. You can speak. Can you hear me?
Okay, so like, maybe I wonder about this. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, go through.
Yeah, so maybe I wonder about this considered vivid thing.
About this?
I not hear nothing about a crime plan, so I say, what happened to the crime? I hear about this considered vivid thing. So
the
I guess they're not doing nothing about crime now.
What are you saying? Oh, the conjugal visits. That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
What is your view on that?
May I hear about that now, but me not hear nothing about crime.
Well, they are suggesting that this will help to reduce the crime, you know, by having better relationships with these former prisoners when they come out. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. What do you think? Are you listening to your radio?
No, like, me think them need to start doing something about crime coming. I hear nothing about them. I try fix the crime.
Okay, what do you suggest that can be done? What you think? Tell me what you're thinking.
Well, I not really feel the conjugal visit thing, because I wonder if that's the priority right now.
Okay. Or is that just a distraction?
Yeah.
It could be a distraction, you know, from the crime issue. You know what I mean? I think this person listening to the radio, you know. All right. We have to run then. Metamorphosis, greetings.
Greetings, Father Iman Blak.
Yes, I.
Yeah, I listen still and would I elaborate a little bit more about the Atlantis thing, about a king called the ocean or something of that sort. The name K that went into ancient Kemet and teach the Kemetians about the whole order when them said the Atlantis sink. And relating to the Bible story still, me now, the first madman in the Bible to me was a man called Noah when them build the ark. And building that ark and said the whole place did kind of everybody dead off. To me now, that is like the whole Atlantis thing, and a set of people that kind of leave to Kemet and other start over from there.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, so if I can elaborate about that king, the name would start with K. Still, I don't really remember the full name, but supposed to Ocean or something.
All right.
You say the only word you can find God in is good, G-O-O-D.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, you them prefer call themselves dog than God.
Mm-hmm.
So we need a little clarification about that, so we can find more perspective towards the futuristical move, you know.
Seriously.
Of the sunburn face nation people.
Seriously.
Like the glance inside the sun still fully black.
Yes, I.
So it's must a relation.
Where I show tonight from?
That place them call Charlestown still, you know.
You mean like Charlestown in a Buff Bay?
No. St. Mary.
All right. Here was like we said before we cut off now. You see that concept of the world wiping out and resuming with a few people?
Yeah.
I mentioned how the Bible gave us a version of that experience through Noah.
Yeah.
But the Noah's experience is coming from the Babylonian floods. Because they had a story in the Babylonian culture of a flood too, that wipe out the world and leave just a few people in a boat as well.
And just in comparison with the whole water vibe and the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic and these islands that have that, and it still connect to Africa. 'Cause I feel like to Sandman's son, to say the one's name, was like 80 was the gateway.
Mm-hmm.
So when 80 fall, confidence kind of stop.
Disappear like.
Yes, so the thing kind of weak towards the whole movement.
Yes. You see, brethren, when we speak about Atlantis, the black people in general don't even have a grip as to the Atlantis as a reality. It sounds to them like a comic book thing. Can them give it to us like a fiction.
So
yet the Bible stories them give it to us now as a reality. So we have to start think it out to oneself after a while. Because we have the information in front of us, you know. We have to connect the dots in our own way that liberate us from a mental condition.
Yeah, because really and truly I'm from the North Coast region. You know what I mean? And I I'm a person who study the sea and observe the sea, even did some work on a catamaran. And I also wear an anchor, I know the water comparison.
See there.
And believe me, I now look in the earthquake and I gotta come out in the sky.
Yeah.
I just looking skillfully for one of these days. Is either the sea come up and submerge these islands, or all of that water reach and part away, so we have more land. Can't take the thing with the whole heap of land, this and capital and so on, so more land when nobody don't know.
Seriously.
Because I want to know the first person who sell piece of land. You know, the first man who sell piece of land. Want to know that brother there.
Serious thing.
That brother there.
Yes, I.
Give thanks, yes.
Yes, I. Give thanks. Give thanks for the link, yeah?
Yeah, the first.
Yeah, man. Heal up all St. Mary people. Yeah, man. Powerful parish. Heal up all St. Thomas people. Mighty parish. And of course, heal up all Portland. Right, this at the center. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Coming through.
Greetings. Yes, I'm calling back. I wasn't listening to the radio. I just had a bad connection. Yes, so I was saying about the whole conjugal visit thing. I'm saying, I don't know if that's a priority. Maybe it's a distraction or something, because I feel as if that's not necessary in a prison, you know, like give them something else to do.
Yes.
And since them have come up with that topic, like, I not really hear nothing about with them about crime. So that's when they try to say something more.
Yeah, I got the picture, and I think as a public looking on and hearing this type of argument, it, as I say, don't address even the work that the man in a prison could do, forget a skill, you know?
Yes.
You know, it don't show no social development, but we are very excited about sexual discussions here in Jamaica, you know. Yeah, we get hyper.
I really wonder how that's going to help them in there.
Yes,
like,
man.
How
Yeah,
that's
man.
going to make them a better person.
Yes.
You know, like,
Yeah. You know.
Really, it just sounds like all fun.
Yeah, but
like,
as I'm saying,
just make them have some fun.
a little distraction, because we are good at these 9-day wonders, you know. So every radio station we talk about is for 8-9 days, and then a new topic come up. So nothing substantial, because these same men say they are depending on divine intervention, you know. So whatever them doing practically, you know, now gonna make no sense.
Yes.
So we just have to stay alert, you know. And certain things with them throw out, we don't even bother pick it up and run with it. We just low it.
Yes.
You know, just low it. Until them start a thing that makes sense, that we engage them.
Yes.
So, all is all. But wait a second, the conjugal visiting now, you don't think, say, sex, them say, boy, you go and cut down on rape in a prison. What do you think?
Can you repeat?
Part of the argument is that these events now, if you allow conjugal visits, it will reduce the rape in prison. Because you know, some man rape man in a prison.
No, I never really think about that, but just the whole thing kind of never make no sense.
Yeah,
I
me
never
know.
really think about that part there.
I know. Them have them arguments. But as you were asking, how does that contribute to decline in violence and crime? I don't see it yet. You see it?
Yes, because now I wonder, like, if somebody go in a prison, like, why you going to reward them with sex?
Well,
versus, and it all depends on what them going to prison for. Too,
that was the next question. And how much longer, how was your behavior in there? How much longer time you have to come out? So them things become so complicated, it confuses the public. So it's a distraction.
And then which part? Yes, and like them are gonna find somewhere to put them people here for engage in a sex.
Yeah,
and
the buildings are already run down. So you say, don't take your energy and follow them kind of argument there. It distract we and take away energy from really thinking about real solutions. So we hear it and we not bother hear it, because it's proposals. It's proposals, and we don't follow that. Seeing?
Yes, we're probably not gonna hear nothing about it again though, because
no man, I'm gonna keep it up. Then we're going to keep it up.
Hear about it again?
Yeah, man, then we're going to keep it up until the public just get turned off and then find a new topic.
Oh, okay.
That's what it'll go.
Okay.
So make us see how long this one lasts. All right, Mr. Strain.
But more hear something about crime though, like something positive what them do, you know?
Yeah, I think we want to hear what them doing about the violence.
Yes.
The violence. How do you tone on the violence? And you see, you have to kind of get people to be less angry, you know. That means you have to address them basic needs, like them sheltering and them employment. These are things, if you address them, I think we can reduce the violence. Basic things, you know, basic things. Shelter, food, less for the rent man, some fundamental things that would take some of the anger out of I&I, you know. Thank you very much for the link, yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
As is.
Planning a party, club night out, stage show, a gospel concert, or even a business sales event? Let Styles FM be a part of your promoting tool. Take advantage of our low-priced promotion packages with commercials, interviews, giveaways, reviews, and much more. We have special offers when you mix and match and bundle your options. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Styles FM for the most effective way to exploit your marketing dollar.
For complete auto repairs and services, come to Akon Auto Technology, located at 33 Bumble Crescent, Port Antonio, Jamaica. We offer specialist services in wheel alignment and wheel balancing, brake drum and disc rotary servicing, state-of-the-art ultrasonic cleaning and testing of your fuel injectors. We also stock an assorted range of auto service parts, tires, and motorcraft batteries. If we don't have it, we will source it for you. Call us at 876-715-5205 or email akonautotech16@gmail.com. Akon Auto Technology, beyond the typical auto mechanic shop.
Be wowed on Wow Factor, Mondays and Tuesdays, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's informative, educating, and entertaining. Wow! I feel good. Put the joy of entertainment in your ears. Be a part of the Wow Factor on Styles FM.
Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, conveniently located at 15 Boundbrook Crescent, Port Antonio. For a large space of single and double rooms at reasonable rate, Wi-Fi, cable TV, breakfast to order, 24-hour security, CC cameras, parking, snack bar and lounge. Beautiful scenery of the Caribbean Sea. We're willing to assist with additional accommodation, such as fridge in your room, coffee machine, and so much more. Boundbrook Hilltop Guest House, proud sponsor of the Metamorphosis with Dr. Iman Blak.
Hail up Conroy and hail up Pauline, staff at Bombrook Hilltop. Really make the place a pleasant place to visit. I encourage our visitors, you come to Port Antonio, check out the Hilltop. Metamorphosis, you're here live. Greetings.
Yes, big up, Mr. Blak. Almost honorable respect to the island.
Alright.
Yeah, man, I call from Bardell. Now, I want to ask the nation of Jamaica, are we independent? Yeah. Because we see, a lot of times people come here and dictate to us. If a storm blow, we have to get aid, we need help, we seek help. But yet still, I guess they will want to celebrate independence about Saturday. Emancipation tomorrow, August 1.
So we say, you know that? You know, celebrate?
No.
All right, tell us why you not celebrate.
No holiday in Jamaica.
All right.
None at all, not one.
What is your basis for resisting these celebrations?
No, you see, really true. The pressure is so heavy upon my people.
Yes.
No, you know, I mean, I really want to go too far on that. They have a really topic when we want to really highlight, man.
All right, go into that then.
We think we have some member of the African family here in Jamaica, and them call themselves 12 tribes.
Okay.
But when we read Galatians 4, verse 24, it says, Abraham is an allegory.
What did it say?
Abraham. I guess that's where the 12 tribes came in from.
All right.
And Galatians 4 verse 24, it says Abraham is an allegory. And imagine from them time that we have slavery because Hagar was a slave woman. We him get that son named Ishmael.
Right.
Him have Isaac with the bond woman.
Right.
Bond woman mean a married
woman, yes.
But yet still we have some black member of our African family. We still a 12 tribes. So we want to understand how that come about, which I view the word allegory. Allegory.
All right. So what you know say, a lot of people don't even necessarily understand what an allegory is.
I understand that, you know.
There are a lot of people don't understand what a metaphor is.
Of course.
And these various,
I understand.
what I call these devices of English. So I think a lot of I people know when we got this book to read called the Bible, we weren't reading with the knowledge of what these terms meant. So if we got a
I'm going to see that clearly.
Right. So, for example, now, even Abraham. You mentioned a point where Abraham is an allegory. But if you check out ancient African culture, like even the Egyptians, as Egyptians, were there long before Abraham even born, you know.
Well, at that time, listen, we are burning spears when Christopher Columbus come here. There were black men.
Exactly. So, we have a lot of Rasta man who see them spiritual foundation coming from the biblical language. And some of that language now is not even properly understood.
Exactly.
You know, so it causes problems, you know.
Somehow a member of the black African family becomes a 12 tribe, which me know Abraham have a son named Isaac, as the Bible relates to. And Isaac have Jacob, and Jacob have the 12 patrons.
Yes.
And I guess that's where the 12 tribe came from.
That's where the concept come from, yes. But you say, what I realize also now, you know, that's not speaking for all black people and all Africans. That's just a specific...
I get that understanding, yes.
It's just a small group of people calling themselves these tribesmen.
Of course, you know why we have to come up with idea like that. When you hear a man, I come talk about Selassie I dead. And we know he's a black African man.
Yeah. So what you say about that?
We have to reject that because we don't know him don't really have him identity with him. Him lost that. But you remember the chapter where we relate to the eye when he just say, it not in our power to redeem our people, sons and daughters from stray because them offer the food and the money. And you know, a land provide that. No one tell us, even in my area how I live, we say, mother, bring out them daughter out the road in a little short, the daughter in a little short.
Yes.
The mother in a little short, and them bend over and I broke it down. And he was direct the daughter and a position the daughter, which I know a sex straight that. And worse I think if you look in the corner of your eye, you're going to see all the granny in a short, squeeze up something. So we don't know how we get to that as a black people.
No, it's easy to say how we get there, you know, because much of the direction coming from forces that are not promoting black culture. And you mentioned about the mother and the daughter. Enough time the things start from the point where the mother too young to have the child in the first place, you know.
Of course.
So when a child have a child and the child who have a child who even have a father, we're leading down a very serious path.
That's what we discover, you know, because even you don't mention about what can do for crime, but me really see if we don't really do proper parenting and guardians and nurturing, we won't get rid of crime.
Yeah, I think it begins there first stage, and we have to also have less violence now within man-and-woman relationship. You see it now. That's to me now the serious point of confrontation, you know. Not for the violence is out of relationships. Where the people don't understand each other and them trying to get things out of each other that is not even there.
Yeah, because we understand that when a person abuses much, him develop violence and unpleasant.
Of course, but you have to. It's almost like a matter of self-defense. So if we as man and we have woman as woman, and we as a man and woman can't have a relationship that is non-violent, we can't expect a society that is going to be calm. Because it begins from the individual.
A person cannot produce more than its value.
So we as a man
to learn that tendency,
yeah,
you won't have it to give.
So the solution to the violence, it don't rest from the government, you know. It rests from the individual first, you know.
So we need proper parenting.
Yeah, but you see, not only the parenting, we need a proper type of self-discipline and a proper knowledge of our own history. Because if you have a proper knowledge of where you're coming from, you know, it can help guide the behavior, you know.
So we have to really change the whole status quo.
Well, that alone, is a big thing to change, you know, but I think if we can work on the individual, where each individual work on them own eye, and upgrade each individual eye, that a male now will look at a female and vice versa in a different way, where a man stops himself as a dog. You understand? It begins with an individual perception of self.
Because you don't want me to have to relate to this. We have used the word complimentary in the book.
Yeah.
And the other day we hear of woman have 6 children. I said the man didn't pay them for their service. And I can say if those lady came from the place where them speak Flanders, the language that called Flanders. Flanders. Flanders.
So I that.
Yeah, man. No, I want to pick up Rata, because he's a personal listener, we're bridging.
Yeah.
So I say big up to him, because I'm a listener right now, you know.
All right.
I'm give thanks for the work of the I do. And I tell you, I keep it up. It's a good work.
All right, my brethren. Inspiration is good.
Remember, we're going to need back on land. We provide food and money. That's the people them can listen to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And we can cooperate and unite, because imagine you say without we unite, we won't get there.
Yeah, we won't get there. And I will even go one step further. We have to unite in our own self. We have to stop the self battle. Because man are war in their own head, you know. Yeah, man, a battle against him own self because of a conflict between Peter himself said it's a next part, same for do that. So if we even come to a overstanding inside of our own being.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, and then we can spread it outwards. Give thanks. Yes, sir.
I said, big up till the next time here.
Rastafari. Yes, sir. Heal all the man.
And congratulations to the eye for the eye works.
All right, man. It'll go through. It'll go through.
Inevitable.
It is. So, Metamorphosis rolling on.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Blessings.
Easy. So, the point is now, part of what we have to reconnect with and to remember is that a lot of the information that we get into the Western world has been properly programmed by the European colonizing forces. And they program this information through books that are provided in the school and the book that is provided in the church. But I want to say something about ancient Egypt again. Because a very important point of reconstruction of black identity. Egypt is such a vital space and place that the history of Europe has its genesis in a society called the Greeks. And the Greeks have been given the title of the intellectual gods of the Western civilization. So from your born into the Western world now, these are the men now who you have been given as the image of intellectual gods. The Greeks, the Socrates and the Plato and Aristotle and the various long name brethren them who we have been told are the authorities on thought. So when a black man wants to resolve an issue that has to do with thinking, he must make reference to the Greeks. And that's how the Western education is all about. Everything, just like how everybody go to Google now, everybody will just go to the Greeks to find out how the thing really go. What they didn't tell us, and we give thanks for Dr. Ben Yochanan, we give thanks for Dr. John Henry Clark, and the intellectual giants of blackness who have gone out and do the research, do the writing, do the compilation, and to bring us the insights that the Greeks got all their tutorage from the Africans who were living in Egypt. All of their information about philosophy and psychology and science and mathematics came while they were students in Egypt. And as I said to them, one of their early students of knowledge of Greek was Plato. And it was Plato who, on one of his visits to Greece, run up into an Athenian lawgiver named Solon. And Solon was explaining to him the anciency of a civilization that was more ancient than the Egyptians, that were there 10,000 years before ancient Egypt. And these people belong to an empire called Atlantis. So Plato wrote that down. And Plato went forward into Greece with his information written down in a book called the Timaeus, Timaeus. Plato's writing. If you want to read about Plato's account of Atlantis, you read the Timaeus. And it was in this book that Plato explained about the vastness of this empire. And he was told that the empire was outside the gates of Gibraltar, which is meaning it was out into the Atlantic Ocean. So there is the first signs within European literature of an empire that Van Sertima would uncover that existed 20,000 years before Columbus came into this region. So the Egyptians knew about Atlantis. I argue that the ancient Egyptians had knowledge of Atlantis. And that knowledge they passed on to the Greeks. But the Greeks kept it a secret and did their own research and writings. And the most European countries now have an extensive amount of research and information on Atlantis. The architecture, the artwork. And I'm saying to the island now, we live in this region for the last 500 years under colonial rule. We're never exposed to the history of this region. But the pyramids have now been uncovered in the Atlantic Ocean. It was found by the Americans and the Russians, but it is the Cubans who bust it. And the Cubans recognize the link between the city that they have found underwater. They have seen a city that is 600 feet underwater off the Cuban coast. And the Cubans are limited in their resources, but they are scientifically very, very organized. And they've uncovered the images of these giant pyramids and sphinxes at the base of the Atlantic Ocean. And I'm saying to I and I know, we have a connection to those forces. We have a connection to that black culture. And we must claim that black culture. And the culture of this region is Atlantean, coming from the Atlantic Ocean. So, once we begin to move beyond what the Europeans set up as a historical framework, we begin to liberate ourselves. We begin to see our identity, not just as Africans, but now as black people. And the black don't mean a color. The black mean that we are endowed with the presence of a functional pineal gland. Because there are races of people whose pineal gland don't function. For example, the Europeans. 95% of the Europeans' pineal gland don't work. And within the black population, that is the soul, according to Descartes, that is the soul of man. That's where you find the third eye. That's where you find the consciousness of the being that has its divine powers. So we claim Atlantis. I will recommend and suggest that people go out and read and look at where Atlantis is in the southern Atlantic Ocean, the climate, and what was the disaster that brought about the destruction of Atlantis. And do those events, can they repeat themselves? Because if a continent sink underwater, it means that there was a time when the sea level would rise maybe 200-300 feet. Obviously something triggered that off. Events that connected to the polar ice caps, events that are connected to asteroids hitting the planet, events that are connected to the dinosaurs being wiped out. We have to wake up as a people and connect the dots ourselves and realize that blackness is the key. And in another program, we'll look at the black culture in Asia, black culture in the Pacific Ocean, that there are people who will tell that the world began around there so. So it's not just about the European concept of time and the European concept of space, because the European has been our most recent inhabitant of this planet. Them just come. The Atlanteans, the continent of Mu, the time when the continents were connected. Asia, Africa, Atlantis. We're thinking through this metamorphosis. I have a text there that I want to read it, but I'm not sure what it means. It says, the first clone couple are the first contagious epidemic to civility that can be contained. This is from Ivor in Canewood. All right. I read it. That I can say. So the next text asks now, who will be the first pirate to explore the newfound pyramids in the Bermuda Triangle? But that's where the pyramids are found, in the Bermuda Triangle. That same area in the Atlantic Ocean where entire ships disappear. Where all planes disappear with man in it and them can't find it again. There's something powerful about the Atlantic Ocean and about the pyramids that are at the base of the ocean. These pyramids are larger and built with greater power and material than the pyramids in Giza, which is in Egypt. So the civilization was perhaps a mightier civilization than even the Egyptians. But it's a black culture. And we know of the Mayans and their development of the zero within the realm of mathematics. The Mayans, within the Mayan culture, we see signs of the Mayans having the ability to travel through space with vessels. There are airfields in Central America that you can only see from the sky. So we're not just come people. We are galactic people. We are travelers through the cosmos. But the religious teaching of the Western world lock up everybody in a garden called Eden and force a beginning from one point and have that beginning worship a one God. Political control over a race of people. So there's a lot of things that we can unlearn, and there's a lot of dots we have to reconnect in recovering ourselves out of these illusions called emancipation and independence. Those are fallacies. We have to find ourselves who we were before Columbus come here. What is the might and power of the civilizations that rule this region? Because not everybody in this region is a descendant of the African continent. There are people here who are indigenous for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Recognizing the sun as the almighty culture, sun culture, pyramid culture, polytheism, polyandry, polygyny. Of a reclaim what is black. And what is black has no lack. That's why Iman don't spell black with a C. Because there's no lack in black. Metamorphosis. Greetings. Greetings. Okay, that call gone. Haley, hi. All right. Up with the sound. This is Ayaso. This is the sounds of Ayaso.
She get fire. Don't be Bagawaya. Madam said she get.
Greetings.
Meta.
Isaac.
Is this I?
Who is this? Good morning. Aile.
How's that doing in Greatness?
Anna is here allowing the people to speak and share them thoughts, you know? What you say?
Yeah, man, give thanks to Iman present in Greatness, you know?
Alright.
Give thanks to the earth sound, you know? Yeah, man, it's like, I reason for some things still.
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned about the eye. And as they have enough one can come to that one mess within themselves because of that eye, you know. They can, find the true essence of themselves. So there's no way they're going to come to one unification, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some song where I come through within my political skills that I'm on. I want to bring forward, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say, when the greatest gift is life and my greatest joy is wealth of health and great happiness. I'm gonna say, you can't care for no one else if you don't know how to care for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get along with no one else if you don't know how to get along with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't love no one else if you don't have great love to evolve with yourself, to keep growing. You can't be loyal to no one else if you're not being loyal to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have peace with no one else if you don't find that peace of mind, that peace within self. You can't relate with God and respect no one else if you don't have that high regard and respect for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't trust in no one if you don't know if you trust your instinct. If you can't be truthful to no one if you're not being truthful to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't unite with no one else unless you meet up with yourself. That's the unity within oneself, that one fullness of you, of the I, which the I represents. You can't understand no one else if you don't come from an understand and know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of things that we have to really take into serious consideration and know that it has to start within.
Yes.
It has to start from the person who walk and eat and drink.
Yes.
And can talk whatever.
Yes.
You feel like talk or whatever you choose to talk in whatever time and space. You know?
Yeah. Everything starting from the inside out.
Yes, sir?
You said everything going on from the inside out.
Yeah, man, most definitely.
Yes.
And you can't look outside of yourself to God. No way you can find who we consider or I consider and try to burn out the country. The Almighty that higher force, that higher power. It has to come from within oneself, you know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That it starts within you.
True.
Yeah, man. So how's the brothers then doing?
Well, all is well, you know. Man, them finding them own space and time to create their own thought processes now, you know.
So when that boy come through?
Well, I say to her, is a man who's on the retirement phase now, you know, so in another 2 weeks or so, he will be liberated from the plantation and will be on his own. So, I looking forward to that, you know.
So how's the cunning one?
Yeah, part of the process too, you know. Everybody work on a self-liberation thing, you know. Because as I say, if the individual self entrapped, you know, it's hard to even help one outside of yourself, you know.
You know, I think when you see even Blak does sometimes,
Your reception a break up.
No, me say, maybe get to Blak does some pertaining to the Capman, Boyle, you know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
transition, you know?
Yeah, man.
Because they have some powerful sound in the Blak from such time. And all you see, Craig and the Rastaman coming forward. Me know it's a psychology right there, because right there, I'm gonna think how you are gonna go over any one of them. One of them must be the president. If two of them come forward, one of them must be.
So
you know your take on that.
So you're speaking about the man who contending for the presidency of the JFF? Yeah?
Yes, sir?
You're speaking about the man who contending for the JFF presidency?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you mentioned Craig and you mentioned Danny Beckford.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, according to the reports up to today, Craig looked like he's the man. He is the man on the outside. I'm outside the fraternity of football right in Jamaica, you know. I'm not in the fraternity. And the next virgin now we know is a Rastaman. And there's the island of a view that Rastaman mustn't lead.
Yes, sir.
So I don't think the society going to give him the chance to get in the leadership position. So I think them two men they will be out of the runnings early. And to be down to the man them who in the traditional GFF role of president of a parish, you know?
Yes, sir.
So it comes down to about 2 or 3 man. The man brother from Clarendon, the brother from Kasafa, and maybe the brother from...
Man, I know Mike well enough because Iman used to be involved in a Clarendon football at the primary school level. And Iman used to run Galaxy and he was there from a long time.
Yeah, man, it's a long time person, you know. So right now it's about 3 man really represent candidates right now as we go forward, you know. Maybe one more will show up, but it's going to be somebody from the fraternity.
To my understanding, the whole system, because it's not even really a system. If it crash, they have to start afresh.
Well, that's the whole idea, you know. The whole idea is to get a manifesto from whoever going to be leading.
I'll call the after the program for this because I have a poem of no reason with the
all right.
Too loud on the air. I'll start today after I finish the program.
Yeah, man.
Pull up here, give thanks.
Give thanks, Aye.
Michael.
Yes, sir.
Babylon ain't easy. Said living in a Babylon ain't easy, no way. Temptation on my right hand, evil on my left. I'll stand up and fight. Oh yeah, now Sadama Sagana. In a positive way, Sadama in a positive way. I've got to pray to Jah to have some mercy, to keep me safe and guide me to travel on my way. Temptation is so strong, but I must fight it. I'll stand up and fight. Fight for my life. Oh yeah, now Sadama Sagana. Let God be praised. In a positive way, Sadama Sagana. Let God be praised. In a positive way. Let God be praised. In a positive way. I feel inside of me. I've got to be free.
Hello.
Hello, greetings, Metamorphosis.
Good night.
Aye.
I was thinking about the people at the prison now.
Yes.
Where I want to allow these ladies to go and visit their spouse in prison.
Yes.
When they get these ladies pregnant now, and the children born don't now know that they were conceived in prison, and then just like the one with the Panicana was say a policeman killed my father, a bad man killed my father, and they got to do something. And whatever them father did in a prison now, how it go? Who are responsible for these kids?
So you see that the problem is deeper than what them think.
Okay.
That's why I'm suggesting to you that it's a big distraction them throw out there because they themselves they have not thought about it fully yet, you know. They have not thought it out, you know. It's we now throwing them where it can't work and why it shouldn't work. They haven't thought about it fully. In other words, like a man just get some can and throw some can, and all the foul them run after it.
Yeah.
And them don't really think about what will happen when that piece of corn done? What will be the next move, you know?
Okay.
But the children, for example, now, they will be stigmatized because them say, hold on, so you're born and you fired out of prison?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it creates more social problems, perhaps, than solutions.
Not anything else.
Yeah, so as I said today, them find it, you know, them find ways of distracting us from focusing on really important things.
Distraction.
Yeah, man, this is a distraction.
And we don't need no more of that. We have enough fighting with already. Fighting with ourselves, fighting to find our identity.
You see it?
And to be putting more
distress in our
pressure.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
We need a road them to fix and them something there. We need some more light.
And the hospitals them need more supplies to deal with the gunshot wounds and all them kind of stuff there.
All that something there.
You know? So we have to be careful now how we deal with the media. As a public, we can't run after everything that is sensational.
No.
Yeah, we have to leave certain things alone and let them know so we now follow you about that. Why you tell us something that are more necessary for what we want to go through, you know?
Same stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
But stay with it. And if you must write some things, so, you know. You must write down your own feelings, man. Put it on paper.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Highly.
Babylon ain't easy. Said living in a Babylon ain't easy, no way. Temptation on my right hand, evil on my left. I'll stand up and fight. Oh yeah now, Sadama Sagana. In a positive way, Sadama Sagana. In a positive way, I've got to pray to Jah to have some mercy, to keep me safe and guide me to travel on my way. Temptation is so strong, but I must fight it. I'll stand up and fight.
Metamorphosis, Styles FM. Greetings.
Yeah, I see you made a reference to the JFF race short while ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's ever a time before where you have so many candidates throwing them hat in the ring. Yeah.
Well, you know, so we're in a new era altogether now, you know. In other words, we're in the post-Burrell era, so everything wide open. You there?
Well, a second, can I break up? Second?
Yeah, I'm saying we're in a new era now, the post-Burrell era, so the gate fly wide open.
Yeah, but I think it's probably more than that, you know.
Okay, tell us what you think.
I don't know if you're aware that FIFA promised now to all right, supposedly the presidency of each federation is supposed to be a voluntary position. But I think going forward, FIFA intends to actually attach a salary.
Okay.
to each
post
president.
I hear you. So you think that this is part of the incentive now?
Yes, man, it's got to be.
So you think that if that wasn't the case, so many people wouldn't be throwing in the hat?
All right. Take a case of the Kasafa man, the AB.
Yes.
He resigned from Kasafa when he said because he never had time for the.
Right.
You know,
that was a political move, though.
Of his work.
That was a political move.
Eh?
That was a political move when him said that.
Oh, well.
He just didn't want. Look here. Nobody wanted to challenge Burrell while he was alive, you know.
Yes, I understand that.
But they all had them interests same way, you know.
Yeah.
So I think him just take a back seat until the time was right, which is now.
Right. That's correct. But I don't know. You mentioned the guy Butler. Butler intends to use his money as bait.
But I don't think it will be enough.
Eh?
It doesn't seem to be enough. He's promising $2.5 million to any parish that support him for 2 years, right? So let us say
It might not be enough, but he feels it will be enough.
No, it's a bit. I mean, and you have to put up what you have. You know what I mean?
Right.
So suppose 10 parishes say yeah. It means they must have $30 million for the next 2 years for them, you know. According to what him promising.
Right.
So there's a whole heap of money and nothing has even started yet.
Right, exactly.
So I am thinking that him is really an outsider trying to get in.
It's going to be another barrel.
Say again.
So in one sense, it might be another barrel.
Well, not necessarily, you know, because Burrell wasn't just promising. Burrell was really dropping the money on the leagues. Him had it there running already, you know. He was running almost all the leagues in every
but
parish.
I don't think these are intended to be empty promises.
Well, we're not going to know. We're not going to know, you know.
Well, that's not true.
Until when the years of why the funding is not there anymore and this and that. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know. So we have to go in on a kind of blind faith. And I don't think he has any track record in Jamaica for people to put that type of faith in him.
No, he doesn't. And he, one thing I can say, he talks a good talk.
Well, it's politics, you know. It's the politics of football. So the talk must sound good. Just like the politics of the state. It's the same type of...
Well, there's one man out there in Clarendon whose talk sounds very unpresidential, so I don't know.
Well, you know, it's who the parish presidents feel can help their parish the best.
Exactly.
You know, I think we're going to come on to that, you know? And so we have to watch it. And
which is why I fear that that Damage would have no chance, even though hearing all the candidates talk.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
What Danny proposes sounds very sound.
But so far, he only has one potential supporting from one parish, you know. So I think the general public want to go with the people who them think have the money or have access to the money. They don't have to have it personally. But if they think that they have the links to the private sector, that might be a...
Wait, say again.
If the public thinks that the candidate have a link to the private sector, they will go with that candidate.
Right.
And I don't think Danny have any link with anything outside of St. Anne's as a source of revenue, you know? So, I'm going to get a side beating.
But if you were to go by what Danny would have done for St. Anne,
yes.
What Danny did for St. Anne in the past 5-10 years,
yes.
Far more than what anybody else do for not 30 years when I'm in the Paris situation.
Possibly true, you know, but guess what happened now? The island really generate from how people town seat.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, man. Town and Moby, those are the two centers that helping to direct the whole leadership issue, you know? So, even when a man like Danny put out 30 years of effort, it's not given the recognition and maybe the respect that is due.
Right.
So ultimately, the people want a man who them think can get them the goodies. That's how our politics work, whether it's football or the state. So we're going to watch it and see. But my hope is that the person who's going to lead will give us at least a 10-year manifesto. Don't tell me about no next World Cup. I'm not interested about the next World Cup. Tell me about the next 10 years.
I think who's selected now, you know, is going to be selected. Isn't it like for a 1 year period? Isn't there another?
No, I don't. No. I think they rule for about 4 years, you know. I think they get like a 4-year run at it. It's not every
that's
year.
Generally, but somehow I believe Burrell's tenure would have been up next year. So isn't it for to fill that tenure?
No, we already have an interim now, you know. The interim is holding the Burrell's position now, interim. And the official election is in August for the next whatever term of office, you know? So we have to watch what happens in August. Seeing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, all right, thanks for the
link. Give thanks for the link.
said, I'm gonna testify what Jah has done for I said
Yeah, I want to heal up all of the listeners, all of my Facebook listeners. Charlie Ailes and Foster Tai Tai and Christine and some whole heap of people on the Facebook. Grace and K-Bar and too many names to mention, but all of you who give the respect and the credit for the efforts being shown here at Styles FM. Hail up to Pauline in St. Mary and hug up the twins. Hail up the plan in St. Thomas, right on the highway there, Ken Jones. To my family over there, Yaha and Amira, and all the fresh listeners of St. Thomas, all the way down to Morant Bay and beyond. Hear the fire rain. Them don't know some know you, you know. As my baller one time. So it's a process of extending ourselves in thought. And I really can't make the program done without saying something about some black people who live in the Pacific, in the islands called Melanesia, Polynesia, and Micronesia. It's Europeans give them these names, you know. But you see the people who come from Melanesia, the inhabitants who dominate that culture is black people. And the people of Melanesia speak about a history that goes 30 to 50,000 years ago. As original settlers, 50,000 years ago, black people in those regions. And you make the feeling say, them have nothing to do with I and I, but we are connected to the culture of our blackness. And that's a point we must not forget. The nationality of being African or Caribbean or Jamaican or connected to an island is not the critical connective point. It is our physiological and psychological makeup that makes us a unit called a race of people. And within that race of people, we have been invaded by many alien races. We have been raped and sodomized and crossed over and hybridized. All these various interventions. But at the base of our genetic power is our blackness. And that is the key to our resurrection out of this enslaved mentality. Is embracing that which is black. When night come, look out. Look into the heavens and admire the blackness. Where from which all things emerge. Even the womb in which a child is conceptualized is blackness. So we're not afraid of blackness because Europeans associate blackness with the devil. The devil in our context really is white. Because it's the white Europeans that have inflicted the greatest amount of evil upon I and I. The Germans committed genocide in Namibia. Millions and millions of black people were wiped out in Namibia by the same Germans who claimed that they committed the Holocaust by killing 200,000 Jews. The Holocaust was committed in South Africa under Cecil Rhodes by Mussolini. All of these Europeans commit Holocaust amongst African people, black people, and it's the blackness that them can't take. Because within the blackness, there's an energy. There's an extra nervous system in the black skin. An extra nervous system, you know. An ESP, extrasensory perceptual system. That's why when black people buck one another, we just eat one another, you know. And we never see it before, you know. I would call it a vibes. But the vibes is emanated from an aspect of our skin. Where we can communicate through skin. We have to return to them levels of communication, you know, and knowledge about self. And one of the European writers described the people in Melanesia as a old black race. Yeah, them says a old black race that they found in the Pacific, in Melanesia. So we are global as black people. And we're not going to try to fit everybody into this mold called Africa. Because the term itself, we have more ancient terms to describe the continent. But no matter which term you use, it relates to the type of people, the burnt skin, black people. And so we're holding on to blackness without any apology. And it's not a badge of shame. It's a sign of divinity, a sign of connectivity with the Almighty Son. Yeah, the Ra or the Ray, we are connected in the same way the green plants are connected through physiological makeup, as so we connected too. So make us know ourselves. As much as we are being deceived about being emancipated and being independent, we are not self-reliant. And ultimately, everybody talking about themselves and themselves, you better can make the decision between yourself and the I and the me. Because everybody talk about I said to myself. So be clear what is what now. And when you tell people about loving themselves, you have to be careful. Because what about the I? And what about the me? And what about the thyself? How do we integrate the I, the me, and the myself? That they function under the power and the direction of the I. Because the me is powerful, you know. And the me is needy. The me always have a need. So is that the self? That needy self? Or is it about the I who's in control of that needy me? We're thinking it out and we're working it out. Because this is the metamorphosis.
This is no fantasy. This is reality. This is what...
Hail all people living in the United States of anxiety and those who are in the further north and Canada. Juicy Max live in Canada, not true. And Kasha Blak live in Canada. Who else live in Toronto? Hail, here. As to the States, California, Virginia, New York, Georgia, Ohio, you name it, Size FM is there. And wherever Size FM is, the Metamorphosis is there too. So we hail up all those who listen and participate in the program. We hail those in the United Kingdom. When you rise and you get on the YouTube site, Size FM, you can download and you can listen to the program. We hail all those who are in the Caribbean, who are part of the ATLANTIS experience. We hail those on the mother continent. So Africa is the mother continent. Atlantis is the father. Metamorphosis.
Oh my people, I'm in pain and misery. There is a parasite taken away from me. This is no fantasy, this is reality.
Iman is a black Atlantean. Yeah man, ancient. When the Africans from the continent come into this region, they experience a liberation in this region. The region where you find Haiti and Cuba and Jamaica. They are remnants of the Atlantean Empire. That's why we are so super.
Who is the one I'd like to know? Do you think it is the right thing that you are doing? Why don't you grow your own garden and stop your stealing? You can never keep on hiding. hiding from the one within, the one who keeps on watching everything that you are doing.
So he love Rastris, he love Janelle from Hampton Court in St. Thomas, he love Sewell live Hampton Court too, you know. Big teacher at St. Thomas Technical and an Arsenal fan to the death. Hail my brethren. So it's been good and it can only get better as we begin to think deeper into our own story and reconnect our own dots in a way that makes us feel liberated, not enslaved, not domesticated, but transformed. So all is well. Picture frame? Oh boy. St. Thomas people, Iman Blak, no, you know, long time. Parish of the Revolution. It's pure revolutionary live at St. Thomas, you know, but it's just show them having afraid. That's why they don't want to fix the road, you know. Yeah, man, they're going to transform the economy of the region and make themselves live like kings. But it shall happen. Because there's a movement that is growing called We the People Movement for the Liberation of African People worldwide. Founded right in this Northeastern Confederation. So all those other groups who call themselves representations of the Queen will soon have to step aside. And tomorrow, Rastaman they're marching from Victoria Pier up to Heroes Park, up to King's House, to Bakawal, into Trenchtown. And the people are becoming conscious that King's House must close down and the resident must leave. Yes, it's happening right here. Metamorphosis, Size of Him. Last day of the month of July, going into the month of August, all sorts of celebrations. Marcus Garvey celebration coming up. Usain Bolt birthday coming up. World Championship coming up. All Iman Blak birthday coming up. So you know, say August red, August black, and August green.
Guide I feel peace and harmony. It is in silence that we will always hear. Sit quiet and meditate. Let the good vibes infiltrate. Even when it's dark, don't you ever have no fear, yeah. Cast away your troubles, I say, just for a moment or a day, yeah.
Guidance to the eye and to the eye, and prosperity within relations. First relation you want to be prosperous is between the I, the me, and the self. Get that relations working. And then we deal with the relations between I and the female. And then we talk about the link between the female and the male and the offsprings and the children. Who are the children? And we extend it outwards into the community. And ultimately, the highest point we can get to is the race. So we work to develop not just ourselves, but to develop the race. Yeah, man. That is the ultimate picture. And once you can help beyond this community, we commit ourselves to the race, to the black race, whether here or there. So, one of us go and live and be prosperous and to think deeply and clearly about our story, how to transform ourselves out of this situation and how to bring about the supremacy of black culture and greater life, better health, more prosperity. Iman Blak saying peace unto the item. Rastafari.
The voice that's whispering, yeah, a message of hope, love and unity, yeah, to all mankind, all humanity. Shh. Guide I.